to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It's the morning after. I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Gary Cully. Morning.
Top of the morning to you, pal. It's a nice Sunday morning in, I was going to say sunny London, but it's not great out there now, but yeah, it's a good morning.
Let's talk about last night. I suppose the show as a whole, there was lots of ups and downs for the home fighters yesterday, but for yourself, emphatic work. 33 seconds was it, or 30 seconds? Yeah. You dispatched of your opponent?
Yes, I think I seen 35 somewhere, 28, somewhere in around that mark. Definitely, I've had a few quick knockouts, but that's definitely my quickest one on the biggest stage. So yeah, it was a great night's work for me, and I'm happy, but I'm ready to go again, I suppose, aren't I?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of not bantering you last night, but the fact that you had barely kind of had a round in that, barely had a minute in that. But yeah, I know you don't train for that. If it happens, it's great, which you did last night. But I'm assuming that you and Pete, etc., were expecting a few rounds there from Belmehdi.
Yeah, and like you said, like one side of the coin, it's great because the hype train builds and everybody gets behind it, and the highlight reel knockouts are great, and we don't get paid for overtime, blah blah blah. But on the other side, like, this fight was an experience builder, and this was right. What is the aim going into this fight? Let's get 10 rounds before we step up the levels and gain some experience. And we seen Belmehdi undefeated, 16-0. Right, get this guy over. He'll do some rounds, and. Like the first thing I said, I looked at Eddie and looked at Anto last night after and said, I need some rounds. So we're kind of, not that we're still in the same position after last night, but like I feel like I need some rounds, and I can't seem to find them anywhere. So maybe we'll just have to step up the levels and just go for it anyway.
Yeah, you're right in what you're saying, because I was speaking to Eddie Hearn about this fight, or he was talking to us about this fight, should we say, prior to this, and undefeated, relatively unknown, but yeah, he was put on pay-per-view to give you that experience. But listen, when they come, you'll take it all day long, because you're not going to get them all the time.
Of course, you hope for them all the time, but you're not going to get them nights every time. So every time they're presented to you, you need to take them. And like I said, we don't get paid for overtime in there. He came to fight, he was a little bit wild. And if you watch the knockout back, I actually didn't load a shot up or try and knock him out. It was just a nicely timed shot, short left hand, and yeah, it just hit the sweet spot.
As discussed in our previous interview, this is your, I suppose, third Matchroom debut, but your first official Matchroom debut being on the...
My favourite Matchroom
debut. Your favourite one?
My favourite one, yeah, so far anyway. Next one can be the Matchroom debut again, and we'll see how that goes, but this is my favourite one so far.
I'm assuming from this point onwards as well that it is going to be difficult as well to match you accordingly. You've had experience, but you're not that experienced in terms of these situations regarding rounds and what level of opponent that you should be fighting next. So it's quite a job for your team to kind of make sure you're having the right fights at the right time.
Yeah, I think I always said to Anto over the last couple of years, I think I'm nearly a manager's nightmare because I'm quite hard to match. And it's mad going back from like 2 to 3 years ago. It was kind of hard to match when I was stepping up levels, and it was guys asking for X amount of money, and now all of a sudden we're talking about times in that by 10 or times in that by 20 what lads are asking for now to fight me after the last few fights. So if you search my name, I suppose, on Google or on YouTube, you just see a highlight reel of 4 or 5 knockouts from the last few fights. So there won't be many queuing up, especially with my height and that I can punch as well, being 6'2", being a southpaw. I always said I don't think there'll be many queuing up to fight me. So maybe it's about getting into mandatory positions and forcing my way into shots for that's going on the levels into world titles. But yeah, for the next couple of fights to bridge that gap between where I'm at now and more level, it's going to be a quite difficult job for Ando and Eddie.
What did Eddie say to you after your performance yesterday?
He was buzzing with it. I know that much. I seen him the replay of the video. I seen him jump off his chair. So not many people get Eddie jumping off his chair like that. And then we just spoke about being active and about the progression over the next couple of months and over the next year, I suppose. And when I originally signed with Eddie, obviously Croke Park was in my sights, but what I'd said was take Croke Park out of the equation. For the next 4 to 5 years, I believe I can be the one to spearhead the new Irish scene and to sell out the Tree Arena myself and be the new star back home. So I'd like to get back to Dublin. Obviously, Croke Park looks like it's gonna be going ahead next May, next June. But aside from Croke Park, after Croke Park, the back end of next year, I'd like to get back to the Tree Arena and start becoming a headline act myself in my own hometown.
Well, yeah, when we saw the reaction when Katie Taylor won last night, when Eddie Hearn was putting out the idea again of that being a reality next year, and yeah, the reception was as we'd expect. Everyone wants that fight or a fight to happen there, whether it's Serrano or whoever, but everyone wants that. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. If obviously the summer will quickly approach and everyone's going to have to start making their plans, so hopefully that will become a reality.
Yeah, like I said to you the other day, it seems like if it's down to Matchroom or it's down to the boxing side, it's 100% going ahead. If it's down to the Irish public, it's 100% going ahead. Now I think we need the sports ministers and the Irish public to really push the government and the sports ministers about really making this happen, because it's not only a big night for boxing and a big night for Katie, but it's a massive night for the country, you know. So it's Irish history. I've said that in a couple of interviews as well, and massive night. So I believe that, like I said, Matchroom are trying to make it happen. Eddie wants to make it happen. Katie wants it to happen. Every person in Ireland wants it to happen. I don't know a person in Ireland who, there's how many million people living in Ireland. Every person in Ireland wants a ticket for that fight. That's a kind of I was there when moment, you know, in years to come. So I believe we need the public to put a bit of pressure on the government to get behind this and to make it happen, because it'll be a special night. So.
Okay, well, I do know you have a car waiting for you and you're off home now. So yeah, congratulations, job done emphatically last night at the OVO Arena. So I don't know what you're doing now, but you're going home, take a little bit of a rest, and then yeah, start planning for what's next.
Yeah, a couple of days off. I would say call myself a gym rat. I'm kind of I live in the gym anyway. It's kind of what I enjoy doing. I look after myself. I live the lifestyle. So Mrs. birthday's in a couple of days, so go away for a couple of days, chill out, get some rest, let the body recover, let the mind recover, and then back to camp and get ready for early 2023, I think.
Gary Cully, thank you very much for speaking to IFL TV this rainy Sunday morning, and get yourself home safe, and we'll definitely talk again soon.
The rainiest, happiest Sunday morning I've had in a long time, Cougs. So I won't complain about the weather today. But yeah, thanks, pal. Thanks for your time.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Gary Cully.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife for saying completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.